There you go, I'm a tree hugger. One more time. That wasn't good enough. Did you know that there are redwood trees near Los Angeles? I didn't know that, and I grew up here in Southern California. So today, I want to go look at some big trees. Well, if you're new here, my name is Scott, and I have been living out of minivans for the last several years. I've been living and traveling out of minivans. I just bought this minivan a little over a month ago. This is a Toyota Sienna, and I'm kind of getting it up to speed to live out of. Been doing a ton of work on it, and I've also been visiting family. That's what actually brought me back here to Los Angeles, was to visit family. But surprisingly, I've gotten a lot of work done on this little minivan. But doing so much work that I just been feeling like I need to do something a little bit more nature-like, and so I thought today I would get out to see these big giant redwoods that are right close to Los Angeles. Now, they're not actually in Los Angeles, and in fact, at the moment I'm not in Los Angeles either. I'm in the city of Brea, kind of on the way to the redwoods here. Brea is not far from the LA County line, so you'll give me a pass if I refer to the redwoods as being in Los Angeles. If you're in Southern California, you know that this is a different county. For everybody else, this is very close to Los Angeles, so I'll probably keep saying that the redwoods are in Los Angeles, even though they're not technically in Los Angeles. First, though, before we go over the redwoods, I do need to get some coffee. I tried to get some decaf coffee from a little local roaster here in town, and they were out of decaf, believe it or not. So I came to Brea because they have another location, same company, another location, hoping that they have some decaf that they will sell me. So this coffee shop that we're heading to is called Enchanted Coffee, and they've got a couple of different locations that I know of, but they are a very small coffee company, locally owned and roasted, so kind of place that I kind of search out for. And the reason that I parked in this neighborhood is because it's just about 3 or 4 blocks away from where I'm parked here. So I thought it would give me a good, easy way to start my day off, although I have done my typical thing where I'm getting a late start on the day. So once I get my coffee going, I will improve that. I'll get things going a little quicker, I think, hopefully. Now, I don't really know this area all that well, so I'm not quite sure where I'm going, but I thought it might be easier just to park in this little mall parking lot and then walk over, so that's what I'm going to do. Hoping that they have my decaf. I did say earlier that the coffee would perk me up a little bit, but I am still drinking decaf, so it's probably not going to perk me up any, but it will make me feel a whole lot better because I think I'm going to like it. I do like the smaller coffee companies that have really good quality coffee, so hopefully this is going to pay off. In any case, I need coffee. I'm almost out, so let's go find this place. Beauty and the Beast studio. I guess that means I'm welcome. There it is. Well, that was a little bit of a bust. They only have a medium roast decaf. They have a lot of really good looking coffees in there if I could drink caffeinated coffee, but I can't still. So I didn't buy any coffee because it was, not my preference. Darker medium roast is not my preference. I did order a latte, and even the latte is a little bit too over roasted for my tastes, really, although I am enjoying it. It is a very good quality coffee, and it does taste very good, but just on a daily basis for me doing more pour over an AeroPress coffee, that darker medium roast just doesn't quite work for me. So did a little bit of research, and a friend suggested another coffee roaster that is just a few miles away across town. So we'll go looking. Hopefully we'll find something there at that place. I think it's called Reborn Coffee.
Turn left onto Imperial Highway.
Okay, here we are, short drive later, just about 3 miles away from the other place. Big, huge shopping plaza here, and if this place doesn't work out for light roast coffee, I do have a backup option. There is a Whole Foods here. That's not my first choice of grocery store, but I do need coffee beans, so we'll see what happens. Okay, there it is, Reborn. It doesn't look like a coffee shop. Maybe because it doesn't say coffee, it just says Reborn. But let's see what it looks like. All right, another cool coffee place, very cool coffee place. Lots of great selection of coffee except with the decaf. This decaf that they sell here is darker roasted than the last place. So I am on my way over to Whole Foods now. Got to be something at Whole Foods for me. Or I can just go without coffee. It's probably what a lot of you are saying right now. Just stop drinking coffee, right? That ain't gonna happen. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. That's not gonna happen. At some point I will find some lighter roast decaf, even if I've got to travel 1,000 miles to get some. But let's check Whole Foods before we hit the road again. Well, I can barely believe this, but even Whole Foods didn't have a lighter roast decaf. So I'm back to scrambling, searching for some lighter roast decaf. I guess I'll just put that on the back burner for now. I really wanted today to be more about walking around some redwoods. So no more coffee searching today. We're just gonna go look for some redwoods. I think we're pretty close here. It's actually about 80 degrees already today. Didn't realize it was going to be that warm out today. I probably should have tried to do this on a cooler day. I know 80 doesn't seem all that warm to anybody else, but I'm hot as soon as it gets to be 70 degrees. Of course, that's Fahrenheit. I'm not putting myself in an oven, but right now I feel like I'm in an oven. It's warm in here. Okay, here I am. I'm just in a little neighborhood that has a trail that'll meet up to the trail that will take us to the Redwoods, if that makes sense. There is a parking area for this area, but you do have to pay for parking. And if you know me, that's kind of a hard thing for me to do. So this works here, and hopefully it's not too far. Although it is a bit breezier here, so it does feel a little bit cooler, which I like. Okay, here we are. This is Carbon Canyon Regional Park. You can see the hours there, slightly different hours, whether it's spring, summer, or fall, winter. But there it is. We've got all redwood grove. Maybe not quite as impressive as the places I normally see redwoods, but this is still pretty cool that there are redwoods here, so close to Los Angeles. Okay, here we go. I have to hug a tree. It's what you got to do when you're in the redwoods. There you go, I'm a tree hugger. One more time. That wasn't good enough. Yeah, I feel silly. Well, that was pretty cool, getting to see some redwoods out of their natural habitats. I'm used to seeing them up north in Northern California. So it's very interesting to see that they are still able to survive out of their regular area. So nice little trip, but I did have to cut it short because it's warm out, a little too warm for me. I've been drinking water and some coconut water, but I'm not dealing with the heat so well. So I just took a good look around and then came back to the van. I think I need to find a place to park for a bit. Maybe take a little nap and wait for the heat to simmer down here today. And then I can think about cooking something for dinner. Maybe that's how the rest of the day is going to go, I guess. I just don't like this warmer weather is all. Well, it's been more than a couple of hours now. I've just been hanging out here in the Home Depot parking lot. Normally I don't like to squat in a parking lot of a store unless I'm actually buying something, but I've bought so much from Home Depot over the last month that I feel like it's okay for me to do that here today. So here I've been. It's now cooling down a little bit. Parked under some trees, so it was nice and cool place to park for the last couple of hours. But I am starting to get hungry, so I think it's time for dinner. So I'm going to make some chili for dinner. And if you're thinking that chili is the only thing I ever make or eat anymore, yeah, you're about right. It's about all I ever make or eat anymore. Not exactly, but I've been making a lot of chili just because it's quick and easy, and I'm kind of wore out today. This heat has got me really tired out. So something easy is chili, and actually the last 2 nights in a row I've had salad for dinner, which is not terribly filling, of course. So I planned on making some chili the other night. I bought some of this bison and ground beef wagyu together, and it's not my favorite meat, but it has a nice flavor. It's just not my favorite. But if I mix it in and make it with chili, then it works perfectly fine. And I stuck it on top of my fridge hoping that it would thaw out, and it's not completely thawed out. So this may not be quite as quick and easy as I thought it was going to be. I guess I can just leave these beef patties on my countertop here, since that one is mostly thawed and the bottom one is still got a little bit of frozen parts to it. I guess it's half thawed, half frozen. I'll just leave this on the stainless steel and that will defrost it really quickly. So I guess not dinner right away. I'm gonna have to do something to occupy my time. Maybe I can show you the newest addition to my van here. So I've been visiting my grandmother here in Los Angeles, and she offered to make me a cover for the rear window here for the van. And I have been struggling with this. I first used a piece of moving blankets, and that worked out okay, but the moving blankets seemed to have some oil or something in them, and so anything that I tried to use to tape or glue it in place just wouldn't hold. So I then tried a yoga mat. I bought a yoga mat, a real cheap yoga mat from a store called Five Below. I think almost everything in there is $5 or less, or sort of anyway. And the yoga mat was $5, and so I gave that a try, and had kind of the same issue with it. Had trouble getting stuff to stick to it. So she offered to do this for me. I let her, and it has turned out to be perfect. At first, I didn't want her to do a bunch of work for me, but she kept insisting, and I'm really glad that she did and didn't just leave it be, because this thing fits in here just about perfectly, and I'm still getting it kind of set the way I want it to be set. She sent me to Joann Fabrics to buy some fabric, which I found this, I think it's polyethylene fabric, and it's made for outside, so it shouldn't fade. She said I bought the right stuff, so I'm hoping that it's not going to fade and it's going to be a good fabric. And there's 2 pieces of it. On the inside is that yoga mat that I tried to use before. She just repurposed that for a little extra insulation, and it seals up pretty good. Right now I've got it held in place both the way she intended it to be held in place, and then just as a cheat, quick thing to get it in place right now before I spend any time fiddling with it, I've just stuffed it under the plastic pieces here on the top and the bottom. But on the side, I've got it hooked up the way she had envisioned it. She made these little pockets and had me buy some heavy magnets. So I've got some 60-pound pole magnets. They're little tiny things. Maybe I have some more back here I can show you. That's it. I bought those on Amazon, and so she had me buy a bunch more, and then she sewed up these little sleeves, and then she sewed the magnets right inside this little sleeve so that they can't fall out. And then her idea was that I could just take safety pins and pin this to the main part of this. And at first I didn't quite understand that, but now I totally get it, and I'm really glad that she did it this way. I was going to just have her, stitch these on and around, but it's so much better having them movable. So I just have some of them pinned in place, and then at some point I'll come back here and finish this off. I have a few more to put in place that she made me. And I don't think I'm going to keep it on the inside of the plastic here, since I do have enough magnets to kind of hold it up without having to keep it in the plastic, because if I just have it with magnets being held up in place, then that means I could move it, possibly take it down if I do want to just sit in the van here on a rainy day and be able to see out. So I'm real happy with this, and it's been working really well, especially on these warmer days where I need a break from the sun. This thing has been just working fantastically. I've only had it in about 3 days now, but I am really happy with it. Oh, and I did take the plastic pieces off both sides of the door there. I'm not sure if I'm going to put those back on, or even I might take all the plastic off of the back door. I'm still kind of deciding on that. It was just easiest to get it up in place if I had the metal of the door to attach the magnets to, so that's why I did it that way for right now. But like I said, I'll come back to that and finish that off in the next week or so. Again, it's a perfect little thing, and I would have not been able to do that myself. This is way out of my skill set, so very happy that I have it. And, you know, very happy that I had Grandma that insisted on making it for me, because I can't do any sewing. I'm kind of useless with stuff like that. But I'm not quite so useless with cooking myself dinner, but you wouldn't really know that nowadays since I've just been making chili every night. But you know, eating salad every day for the last couple of days, I'm ready for something a little more hearty, so the chili is going to be good. And I think I'm just going to make a double batch with this because I've got my fridge set so cold that I think if I put these back in there, they're just going to refreeze. So I might as well just make it all up here, and then I can just put the leftovers in the fridge. Hopefully they won't refreeze, but we'll find out. Now, there's nothing really wrong with this bison beef mix. It tastes fine. It's just really fatty, and I always feel like I'm paying more for fat than I am for actual meat. And that's the only reason why I don't really like to buy this very often. But I was kind of in a bind because I just couldn't find any real decent beef around. I normally only like to buy grass-fed beef. And I went to, I think, 2 different Aldi's stores, and they didn't have any at all. They were sold out. And so I just bought this. Did find it at Aldi as well. It was a little more expensive than their regular organic grass-fed beef that they have, but it was kind of my only choice, or drive across town again, so that's why I bought this again. But like I said, if I'm just using this for chili, it's fine. It doesn't make any difference. Last time I made a double batch of chili, I used my smaller pot instead of this larger one because I couldn't find this one. And I have now moved some things around and organized a little bit better, pulled this out of the little hiding spot that it was in. It was funny because I looked for it and I could not find it, and I stopped to think, did I move this over? Did I lose it? Did I set it outside at one point and drove off and forgot it? But no, I still have it. It's a good thing too. I use this pot quite a bit, especially when I'm trying to make double batches of something. And been doing a lot of double batches of chili, but I think I mentioned that once before. So I'm just going to let this chili simmer for a couple of minutes, and while I'm waiting for that, I will tell you how I've been staying cool, because we're in that time of the year here in Los Angeles that it's a little bit cool, it's a little bit hot, and you never really know what it's going to be from one day to the next. We've had rain, and then we've had 85 degrees all within the same week. And rain and cool, I guess I should say. So, you know, it's a whole grab bag of weather here. It has been staying cool at night, so I've been sleeping fine here in the van, although last night I did run my, at least this one vent fan all night long. And I'm able to do that because on this vent fan, I have a speed controller, so I can kind of adjust it up and down. It's running about half speed right now, and you could probably hear it. It's fairly noisy. These Max Air dome fans, that's what these are, both of these are just a little bit noisy. They're kind of a crummy fan, to be honest. Although they work great as a vent, but they're just kind of a crummy fan. But they do work a lot better with that motor speed control because I can turn it down and just have a little bit of air moving when I need to, like last night. Now, when I was cooking the chili, I actually turned this one on, and this one I don't have a speed control for. It's just wired straight in to the 12-volt battery. So when I turn it on, it's pretty loud. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. We can try it here. It's loud to me. I don't know if you can hear that yourself, but it's pretty loud to me. So it's nice to be able just to turn them up and down as I need to. I very rarely have to turn both of them on, but I actually did earlier when I first got here to this parking lot because I was way overheated and it was a little warm and stuffy in the van here. But I just left the door ajar a bit and it brought in quite a bit of air from outside. And because I'm parked in the shade, it worked and it cooled down pretty quickly and cooled me down pretty quickly too. And then the other thing that has been helping keeping it cool in here is I've actually painted over these back windows. This is a Plasti Dip that I use to paint over these windows. And it provides a little bit of insulation on its own, I think, because it's kind of a rubberized type of material. Even though it's called Plasti Dip, it's kind of feels more rubber to me. And then of course it does block out all the light. So it has helped keep the sun out of the back here and keep it a little bit cooler. And of course doing it this way means I can still open these back windows because they do pop open in the back here. So I do that occasionally. I guess I could have done that today, but to me it just seems like the door, opening the door is just a better way of going because it allows a lot more air in. But the Plasti Dip on the back windows has really helped, and you know, it was a nice, easy and cheap little fix for covering up these windows and keeping the sun out. This chili is hot, but I'm going to try to eat a little bit of it. Oh, and I should probably move my stove back. I've got a couple of magnets on the back side of my backsplash here on the countertop, and I try to push the stove back onto the magnets so that it doesn't move around when I drive. Sometimes I forget, and so far I haven't had the stove fall on the floor, but it will happen one of these days if I forget to push it back there. So now it's done, so I don't forget to do it later. It's absolutely beautiful out now. I thought I'd move over here so I have a better view outside. Looks like we're going to have a pretty nice sunset tonight. It's been a clear day, and that's one of the few things that I begrudgingly admit that I miss about Southern California is sunsets down here are usually just awesome every night. So I've been enjoying those when I do stay up to watch the sunset, which hasn't been every night. I've been doing so much work on the van that I've just been tired out, or I've been inside talking to family, so I just miss most of them. But maybe I'll catch one tonight. Maybe. About 4 days ago, I gave myself a haircut, and they always look worse the next day, and then they look a little bit worse 2 days after I cut it. And now at 4 days, it's looking a little choppy and funny, but oddly, this was the quickest haircut I've ever given myself. I think it was maybe 15 minutes total, and it's really not that bad. I mean, you know, it's got some weirdness to it, but really not that bad, especially considering it was only 15 minutes. I was in a hurry to try to get back to visit family again, so I just kind of buzzed through it because it was really annoying me. It was pretty long, and with the weather kind of warming up, I was noticing in the forecast, I thought better just to cut it, you know, now. So I actually did that in another Home Depot parking lot. Nobody seemed to mind, nobody seemed to care. I just sat in the back of the van and did it real quick. And, you know, again, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm not quite sure what I did different that made it so much faster than the other haircuts, but maybe I'm just getting better at this haircutting thing. I don't think I'm really getting better at the haircutting thing. I think I just got lucky. You know what I find interesting between this van that I have now and my last van is that my last van stayed cooler even if I was parked in the sun. Because it didn't have any glass, so it never really heated up. In fact, it would stay cold inside often. There would be several times that I would put a sweater on or a jacket on in the morning, get outside and realize, oh, it's actually hot out here, where it's quite a bit different with this van because this van is all glass all the way around. It does heat up a lot quicker and faster and more, but because I have upgraded my solar panels now, I've got a lot more power, and as long as I've got a little bit of sun, it's just part of the day, my batteries are fully charged. I don't have to worry about anything just because these solar panels work so much better than my last solar panels. So now I have the opportunity to park in the shade for a little while like I did here, which I really needed that earlier. I was just way overheated when I first got here. So some nice little differences here. I was not looking forward to dealing with glass on this van, but so far it's working out. But, you know, in thanks due to the new, shiny, expensive, but great working solar panels. Well, Well, thank you, Home Depot, for giving me a place to sit for a little bit and cool down. But I think it's time to find a new place to park and park for the night. Can't do that here. So anymore, I really am getting kind of picky on where I like to park overnight. And I never park on private property. So even though some Home Depots allow you to park overnight, I never take advantage of that. There are some people that, need it, and I don't need to do that. I am much more comfortable parking on a public street. So that's what I do. Always public streets, never private property, even if it is allowed. I don't think it's actually allowed here. I think we're actually in Orange County here, and they're not so crazy about van lifers, although it's fairly van friendly because there are just thousands of us out here in this area, but they just don't let you park on private property. So I don't think I could park here even if I wanted to, but I am a lot more comfortable parking on just a public street. So I've looked over the map and I found a spot that looks good to me, keeping in mind I'm very picky about where I park. So let's go drive over there and I'll show you kind of a normal spot that I would park in on a regular basis. So this is going to be home for the night. This is an almost perfect spot that I look for, and a very typical spot of someplace that I park in on a regular basis. So there are homes on one side of the street, and then on the other side is a big shopping plaza. So that means there's going to be people that are parking here that are shopping. There's also going to be people that live here that park in the street. And I've checked for parking signs. There's no real parking signs except for some street sweeping signs that have to be aware of. So I'm all good if I want to sleep in the morning. So that's all covered. Now there are some downsides to this spot that don't make it a perfect spot necessarily. It's not a level spot. There's a little bit of an incline here. So could be better that way, but not really a problem. Also, because of all the traffic here, going to be a busy street. So there's going to be constantly moving traffic all night long. Not a big deal for me because I'm half deaf, so I never really hear that so much. So this will be a pretty good spot, I think, tonight. And I know that I'm in the right spot because there is another Toyota Sienna parked across the street, so I know that this is where I'm supposed to be parked. And that about does it for me. I am tired. I've been spending so much time working on my van and also visiting with family and friends that I'm just tired out, and I want maybe a whole day all to myself. So I think that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. Sleep in a little bit and then just have a restful and relaxing day tomorrow. I guess I need to put coffee shopping back on the list too, because I never did find that light roast decaf that I was looking for. I thought I was going to be able to find some today, but I didn't, so that'll go back on the list for things to do tomorrow. I think I've only got beans for 2 more cups of coffee, so getting down to the wire on that. I'm going to have to find some sooner or later. I'm beginning to think that light roast decaf doesn't exist in Southern California. We'll see what I come up with tomorrow, right? Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me today, and thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. All right, am I in frame? My head?
Yeah, you're in frame. You're behind the arm of the chair there.
That's okay. It's
yeah,
fine.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I have to hug a tree. It's what you got to do when you're in the Redwoods. There you go, I'm a tree hugger. One more time. That wasn't good enough. Yeah, I feel silly.